Hello and welcome here to Talk FCP and welcome back here to the channel, guys, for the first La Liga review of Barcelona back in the new season, and it's starting with a win at home against Real Betis by 2-0 on the night. It was a very eventful game. It was a good game in which we played well, we dominated the ball, but ultimately in the end this match will be remembered for a series of unfortunate events for Lionel Messi. He was so close to scoring on the night. At first we thought he'd scored the first goal, it went down as an own goal, and then on from that there was so many chances where he was simply inches away from hitting the back of the net for the first time in the new La Liga season. We'll be coming on to all that and more, especially some very good performances from a few debutants tonight. But first of all, let's look at the team in which Valverde decided to go with in the first league game of the season. Guys came out with shirts on, they honoured the victims, of course, of those terrible terrorist attacks. It was good to see those being honoured, the families, the friends of those affected by the unsavoury scenes in Barcelona back on Thursday. But in terms of the game, Valverde decided to come into this with a few changes to the side that came out in the Super Cup. It was quite unknown before the game what sort of formation Valverde was going to adapt, because he did start with Nelson Semedo, which was so important. I feel that was a really good decision from Valverde that he made. Very much sort of the pressure was on. Vidal didn't impress in the Super Cup. Roberto isn't a right back, so Semedo for the season going forward has to be our starting right back. He did start Sergio Roberto in his preferred midfield position, either side of Busquets and Rakitic. Piqué was rested on the bench, of course. He has a bit of a niggly injury, so Mascherano started at the heart of defence. And in terms of our striking options, Luis Suarez injured, of course, Neymar gone, and no signings as of yet, so Lionel Messi started alongside Paco Alcácer and Gerard Deulofeu, who has rejoined the club from Everton. And it was a good performance. Right from the get-go, we looked positive, we looked in good mood, the players were pressing. That was the most important thing. We saw the pressing today, which we'd seen in pre-season, because in pre-season Valverde's side looked very good. They looked expansive, they looked up for it, and that's what we saw today. In the Super Cup, that pressing, that determination seemed to go missing, but tonight we saw it again. Every time Betis got the ball, the guys were closing down right from the front. They were getting onto them, particularly Sergio Roberto and Rakitic in midfield. They were very energetic, they were very much in the face of Real Betis, and Sergio Busquets as well was pushing up very high up the pitch, and we limited them to very little. The only time Real Betis threatened us throughout the entire game was on the few counter-attacks here and there, but it all did start with an own goal, as I mentioned earlier on. It was a chance down the right-hand side. Deulofeu, for the first time in the game, had sort of got past his man. He was looking a bit positive, and that's what I would say about Deulofeu. He started the game quite nervously. He didn't really look like he was supposed to be understanding the positioning that he was in. He was making a few runs here and there, which didn't really connect with the team, but then all of a sudden you saw it in him. You know, he started beating his man, he started getting a bit of confidence about him, and then he started growing into his position. He was playing off the right hand side, Paco was more off the left, and Deulofeu, when he got into the game, was really effective, and that was good to see. He got down the right for his goal, got the right side of his man, drilled the ball across the danger area like he had done a few minutes earlier to that, and it actually came off Tosca for an own goal. It looked like it'd possibly been Messi's goal, but it did go down in the end as an own goal from the Real Betis centre back. And then just a few minutes later, you know, in the half, it was getting towards the end of the first half, around the 40-minute mark, it was a very much a game-changing moment, because we'd fell asleep. Sergio Leon was bearing down on goal, only Ter Stegen to beat, but he was taking his time, and that allowed Mascherano to get back. He was sprinting, he was going all for it. He didn't look his age in this moment, and he came out, Mascherano, with one of his typical sliding tackles, the last-ditch tackles that we've seen so many times over the course of his career. It was definitely a game-changing moment, and Mascherano can be very pleased with himself in that moment. He got the ball cleanly, back to Ter Stegen, and then we launched our own counter-attack. We were on it again, Deulofeu down that right-hand side, Messi making the run centrally, but he actually dragged the man. There was a bit of space in the area. Deulofeu took his time, he was clever, he picked the right pass, and in the box, all alone, was Sergio Roberto, who, like I say, showed great energy throughout that first half. He was everywhere, you know, he took up a number of positions. He wasn't only central at times, he was looking a bit more advanced. Every time he was pressing, he was getting right up to the front line, and I think that first goal showed everything about his performance. You know, he was everywhere, he was looking for space, and it was a good finish from him to get his first goal of the season in what could be very much a breakthrough season in that centre midfield role for Sergio Roberto. So it was a very good first half. We dominated the ball. We finished the half with around 70% possession. Real Betis were restricted to very few chances indeed, but I think the first half was certainly the Lionel Messi show. Everything was going through Lionel Messi. he was making chances, he was definitely playing more advanced. A few times during the game we did see him drop into a deeper role, but the majority of the time Messi was playing in that sort of false nine position, which is very, very interesting because we haven't seen him in that sort of role for quite a while. Usually Suarez has taken up that centre forward position, but tonight Messi was central, Paco was to the left, Deulofeu to the right, and Messi was allowed to do very much his own thing, and he did try to stay as advanced as possible, which certainly helped us because our midfield tonight was much stronger. Busquets helped us dictate the play in there. He was able to play a bit more advanced, and that's what you'll see against the sort of lesser teams. With all due respect to Real Betis, they're not Real Madrid, so we were able to sort of push up the pitch. Busquets was able to get on the ball a lot more, and we did take a few more risks. You know, Rakitic and Sergio Roberto in the field were pushing up, they were pressing, they were so much in Real Betis' defence's faces, and a few times we did dispossess them, and we were in behind through Lionel Messi, and he was so close, like I say, to getting a goal. How he didn't score tonight, I will never ever know. He hit the post first of all from a free kick. It was a fantastic effort. Just before that free kick, he had another one just on the edge of the box, closer in. He struck that and it just about grazed the crossbar. Messi in total actually hit the post 3 different times, and even 4 if you count that free kick that grazed the bar. It was really so unlucky on the night for Messi. He did absolutely everything but score. There was a corner that came in, he got up, his leap was good, he headed it just wide of the post, and right in the dying seconds of the game, even then, he was trying to get himself a goal, weaving in the box, in and out like we see him do, and in the end the defender got back. Could have been a penalty, but did look like a decent enough tackle. But Messi was very good tonight. He was effective in the attacking areas. One thing I would say about him though, I'm not sure that he was completely happy tonight. Now, there could be a number of reasons for that. I personally wouldn't be happy because he was so close to scoring. It wasn't his night in front of goal. Everything that could have went against him, he was very, very unlucky. So it could be that, or there could be something more to this. There's been rumours today about Man City being willing to play his release clause. Now, I don't believe for a second that Lionel Messi wants to leave this club, but I do believe he's unhappy, and I do believe that he's unhappy of the lack of signings, the lack of strengthening our squad this summer. I think he wants the players to be brought in now towards the end of the window, and I think he's making that known because a few times tonight the camera was on Messi. He didn't look very happy. He didn't look like a smile on his face. He was missing his 2 pals from the trio. Of course, Suarez injured, Neymar gone. I wouldn't blame him if he was a bit unhappy about the squad right now. He shouldn't be happy with how things are going on with the board, and I think he's certainly sending a message, but his performance today didn't say anything like that. He wasn't in a sulk or anything like that. He played very well. He was more advanced. He was closer to the goal, and when Messi's in that position, he is always going to be dangerous. But the one player that I want to come on to tonight, the player that I think probably man of the match, would be Nelson Semedo. I said about him at the start, it was so important that he started this game, and the reasoning for that is he is perfect for us. He is absolutely suited to what we need down that right hand side. We have been crying out for a player like this in that right back role or that right wing back role since Dani Alves left us. Somebody who can get up and down that right hand side, who's got pace, who's got wonderful athleticism, who knows where they're supposed to be. His positioning is always good. He's always in the right areas. He knows when to make the run. He's not silly. He doesn't just go bombing forward like a headless chicken. He understands his role. He knows when to go, when to stay. And I think defensively and offensively, he gives us an awful lot because there was a few times tonight he was tested by Joaquin down that left-hand side. He's a trickery player at times. He's got a good touch. Semedo handled him very, very well. And he definitely made massive strides on that right-hand side. And a lot of the time, even when he got into those final areas, he made the right decision. He made the right pass. There was a moment where he used his blistering pace down the right-hand side, and at the end of it, he had the pass. He played a brilliant ball into the box, which was very, very close to creating a goal for Paco Alcácer if it wasn't for the defender who made a brilliant last-ditch interception. What I wanted to say about Paco Alcácer was tonight, he was quiet. He didn't make an impact. He didn't make an impact like Deulofeu did. He didn't get on the ball as often as Deulofeu did, and I wasn't particularly impressed with what he did tonight. There's a big chance for him now. Suarez is out. He didn't play, though, to be fair to him, in his natural position. He was pushed out wide. He did do a lot of defensive work. He did do a lot of running, so credit where that's due. But you want to see more from him in the attacking areas. You want to see him getting on the ball more often, and you certainly want to see him making more of an impact. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's used by Valverde and what impact he has in the coming games while Suarez remains out injured. But in terms of our shape for the game, because I was looking at the team and I was thinking, what sort of formation are we going to be adapting tonight? A lot of people were saying it was going to be our usual 4-3-3, but actually when we were defending, it was quite interesting to watch the positioning of Alcácer and also of Deulofeu, because they're not high profile names, they're not Neymar, they're not Suarez, they're not Messi. What Valverde got them to do was just tuck in, and it actually became a 5 then in that midfield positions. They created a 5, they created a big barrier, and it was really, really good for our defensive shape. Those two were working very, very hard, Deulofeu and Alcácer. They were working backwards, they were making us more compact, and that's what you're able to do, and that's certainly something that Valverde will be looking at and thinking, that gives me options, because they're not high-profile players, but they are willing to work very, very hard for the team, and that in itself could well be priceless in games going forward this season. What I will say about Deulofeu as well, guys, I see a lot of people saying, you know what, he's not the finished product, he's not this, he's not that. Well, that's fair enough. I'm not saying that he's the finished product. I think there's a lot that he's got to learn. I think he's got to learn a lot about the way that we play, the sort of passes that you need to make. He needs to know when to sort of dribble, when to pass, when to shoot, because right now I think things are a bit uncertain. He wants to try and do the right thing every single time, which is very, very difficult when you're at a club like Barcelona, the pace that we play at. But what I would say about Deulofeu is he wasn't brought in originally to be a starter, so we can't really judge him as though he's coming in to replace Neymar. That's not the case. He was brought in to strengthen our squad, and I think he does that. I think I would certainly have him in our team, I would have him in our squad, and I think over the course of the season he will give us a lot coming off the bench when we need to rotate players. He will give us a lot if we can get the players in who should be starting the games, because when we've got our full squad put together, when we've made our signings, Deulofeu will be a very, very good addition simply for our squad depth, that we can rotate players, and he will definitely have an impact in the season to come. So I think in terms of that role, he is very, very suited indeed, and does deserve credit. He can give us something, and I think he definitely deserves a chance in this team, because tonight he showed flashes. It wasn't consistent brilliance, it wasn't, you know, magical play, but what he did do was work very, very hard, and there were a few times when he was on the ball where he was very, very effective indeed. So I think he deserves credit for that tonight. I thought Roberto played well in midfield. I think Rakitic looked a lot better than he did in the Super Cup. I think Mascherano and Umtiti were very, very solid at centre-back. We didn't allow Real Betis an awful lot at all. There were a few moments in the game where we sort of switched off, but that was mainly because we were so dominant. You know, you look at the final stats from the game, we did finish with 60% possession. Betis had a few more of the ball towards the end of the game, but certainly in that first half, we completely dominated proceedings. We completely dominated the way that we played in that first half, and it was really, really good to see us play like that. It was important to come out in that way in that first half, because too many times last season under Luis Enrique, we'd come into the first half of the game and we'd be very, very slow. We'd be lethargic. We'd struggle to get going in that first half, and then in the second half, then you'd see an improvement once we've made a few changes, of possibly when the opposition got a bit tired. But tonight it was very, very different. Under Valverde, we came out, we pressed, we worked very, very hard, we created a lot of chances, we dominated the ball, and I think overall tonight we missed a few chances, but it was a good start to the season. A very solid win. At the end of the day, it's only Real Betis, but you still need to beat what's in front of you. You know, we dropped points away at Betis last season, so it's important that we keep these wins going and get that momentum going and get our confidence back. The Super Cups were bad defeats for us, but it was important tonight to get back on the winning feeling, get a first win in La Liga, and now put the pressure on Real Madrid, who do play later on tonight away at Deportivo La Coruña. So let me know your thoughts down below, guys. What do you think about the game? How do you think the way we played? Who do you think was man of the match? Are there any players that you would sort of rotate, that you would possibly leave out next week that didn't really earn their place in the team? Let me know about your thoughts on the game down below. I'm always interested to hear what you've got to say. I will see you very, very soon indeed with more videos, and I hope tonight is a sign of things to come. It was positive, it was a good result, but Messi, so unlucky. Vesca! El Barça!